Good evening, friends. Happy Wednesday to everybody. How is everybody doing? I'm messing with my light here. Hope that everybody's doing well. Thank you so much for all the positive shout outs on the little read that I did over the weekend. And thank you again for all of your patience. So many of you were so kind as to wish me well with my shoulder, and I'm happy to report that I am feeling a lot better. Butterfly Kisses Healing gave me a energy healing session last night, and I mean, I strongly encourage anyone here who is having any kind of issues, please reach out to Butterfly Kisses Healing. She is fantastic and is a wonderful person in addition to being a wonderful healer. And I had like one of the best night's sleep ever. Well, probably since the last healing session that she gave me. And my arm is feeling much better. I'm not cured, but I'm much better. So thank you so much to Butterfly Kisses Healing for doing that for me. So nobody has shown up yet, but that's okay. We will get started in a few minutes. Tonight's topic is about acceptance and belonging, and I'm looking forward to that discussion. I do want to say as a disclaimer that, as much as we try to create a safe environment here on this channel, please do protect your privacy in the chat. Right? It is the World Wide Web, of course. So just a couple of housekeeping things. This Friday at 3 p.m., we're going to be doing our Thank Spirit It's Friday, where we do a collective read for what's coming up for the weekend. Then on Sunday, I will be back at 8 p.m., where we will be doing our oracles in chat, which I look forward to. I do have a couple of exciting things that I want to share with you guys. Oh, hi, Andrea. How you doing, love? Hi, Suzanne. How you doing? Yay. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. That's wonderful. So I've ordered a new office chair, so hopefully that will aid in my shoulder not hurting me as much in the future. So that's wonderful. And a new desk. So I'm going to have a whole new setup. So I'm really excited about that. That should be here in a week or two, so I look forward to that. And I've worked on my Oracle deck, and I have completed 60 cards, my friend, and I am so excited about this. So I will be using these, throughout the next few weeks, and you guys can see them in action. There's no artwork or anything like that on them. It's just a bunch of words, but the deck contains several different sections. There's the months of the year, as well as the birthstones that go with those months and the qualities that they speak to. There are the angel numbers that are in here. There are different relationships, different interactions, emotions. So there's lots in this little deck of cards, and so far it's being wonderful to work with. So I'm excited, and I can't wait for you guys to see it in action. Alrighty. I'm doing really well, thank you, Suzanne. I had hurt my shoulder, as you guys know. I had like some kind of pinched nerve, somebody or other, whatever, that traveled down my right arm into my hand, and 2 of my fingers were numb. And I believe it stems from the issue I was having with my neck, which is from an old injury from a car accident. And Butterfly Kisses Healing, I mean, bless her. She gave me an energy healing session, and I had a fantastic night's sleep in addition to waking up and being able to sleep, because I really haven't been able to do that in a couple of days. And I woke up feeling much better. So if you haven't checked out Butterfly Kisses Healing, she has a channel here on YouTube. I strongly encourage you to do that. She is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. No, I got an energy healing session, Marie. Hi, Anna Banana. So, hello to Marie. Hello to Anna Banana, Suzanne, Andrea. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I really, really appreciate it. And what else did I want to tell you? Oh, yeah. So next, okay. So there are a few other things I have to share. So a long while ago, I had a private reading done with Sun Psychic Jean. And she reached out to me and asked me if she could edit down that version and put it on her channel. And so this Sunday coming, I will be on her channel live to answer questions and to talk about that experience. The video is currently playing on her channel, and so many people have had such wonderful things to say. And I will be honest, like even when I watch the video, I can't believe the difference in me. And I've had many people say it to me, but when you look at yourself in the mirror every day, you don't necessarily see the same thing that other people say or see, sorry. And I, as soon as I looked at it, I was like, my God, is that still me? So yeah, I mean, it was still just as powerful and just as effective, but that was the first thing that I noticed, that my shoulders were where they were supposed to be. And I didn't look absolutely miserable and exhausted. So I can't wait to go to her channel and answer any questions that anyone might have. It was an amazing experience. So if you have a chance, go check that out at Sun Psychic Jean's YouTube channel. And then next Tuesday so I'll be there Sunday, January the 29th or 30th. I think it's the 30th. At 3 p.m. Eastern time. And then I go to Nancy Jean's garden on Tuesday, where we will be, I'll just be talking about what we do here on the channel, telling a little bit about my story. And then Nancy Jean is going to help us by creating sort of like her, I called it like a, and I've said it. No, I don't remember what I called it, but it's like a mental health wellness kit. So her top 6, 5-6 crystals that she would advise anyone who needs help with grounding or centering or anxiety or insomnia, right? Those kinds of things. And then I'll toss some oracle cards and she'll do a garden spread. And so if you can join us, that would be fantastic. Of course, I will keep reminding you until we get there. And then next Friday, Ali will be here for our Thank Spirits Friday session to toss some cards around for Thank Spirits Friday. So lots of good things going on. And I'm excited about that. So I hope that you guys stay tuned and stick with me as we continue to move through the weeks. It's getting exciting. Oh, and I have reached over 100 subscribers. So I know that I announced that a couple of days ago. So I wanted to say again, thank you so much to each and every one of you for all of your love, all of your support. You guys are phenomenal. And I'm so excited for the future. And that in itself, my friends, that in itself is such a gigantic blessing, because I don't remember the last time I was excited about my future. So thank you for all of your support and your love. Thank you. Oh, did you watch it, Suzanne? Yeah, it was pretty incredible, right? Yeah. Okay, my friends. Yes, yeah, Andrea, I'm looking forward to all of that. I really am. So tonight's topic is about acceptance and belonging. And that is something that I struggle with. And so I thought that it was an important topic for myself, and as well as I'm hoping that someone else can get something out of it. And as always, I do a little bit of research to make sure that I have everything covered properly while I'm talking about it. And what I thought was interesting about the idea of talking about acceptance in full disclosure is I have always dealt with, I don't know if it's called a fear, but let's call it a fear of not quite fitting in. And I think that many people are surprised when I say that, because I am not an introvert, I'm an extrovert, and I usually just sort of place myself in the middle of, whatever's going on. But I do struggle with fitting in. I don't know that I struggle with it in the same way that other people do. I know that for me personally, I feel things, and so I feel it when I feel that people are not happy with me, or maybe they're kind of looking at me like, "What's wrong with her?" That's when I get a little excited. I get a little upset. Right, my anxiety kicks in. That's where the belonging and acceptance is an issue for me. Many of you know from being in the chat here that I have felt, where is my place in this community, that I don't fit in terms of, like, I don't read tarot cards, and I don't consider myself a reader. And through your encouragement and all of your support, I've come to realize that I do have a connection to the cards, and I am reading them, and I do have intuition, and it's blossoming. And so the lesson there, my friends, is that, sometimes when you're searching for something so hard, you actually miss it when it's right in front of you. And when I was doing my research about acceptance and belonging, that was something that was said. So I thought that was just an interesting note to mention. So let's go ahead and get started. If anyone has any questions or any, whatever, feel free, throw them up in the chat. I'm going to bring up my sticky note here so I can make sure that I follow along. I want to start with a quote that I found. If I can find the quote now. Bear with me here. All right. So the quote that I want to start with is by a person by the name of Brené. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's Brene Brown. Brené Brown. And the quote reads this: "Belonging starts with self-acceptance. Your level of belonging, in fact, can never be greater than your level of self-acceptance. Because believing that you're enough is what gives you the courage to be authentic, vulnerable, and imperfect." I really like that. Let me read it one more time. Belonging starts with self-acceptance. Your level of belonging, in fact, can never be greater than your level of self-acceptance, because believing that you're enough is what gives you the courage to be authentic, vulnerable, and imperfect. So Marie says that you have your whole life dealt with that and you feel the same as me. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Marie. Andrea says goes way back, and the part of us that believes a piece of a put down or being on the receiving end of mean girls activities. Yep, absolutely. Okay, so let us start. So I went to 2 different places to get this information, and I hope that it doesn't sound disjointed, because I tried to make it sound like as if it was, flowing. You can be surrounded by people, but still feel lonely or isolated. I know that I definitely have experienced that in my life, and I just sort of alluded to that fact of, how I can put myself in the center of a situation and still feel like, I don't know if I fit in here. We can all think of times in our past where we felt like we didn't fit in. or that we felt excluded from something. And those moments can have such a huge impact on our lives as we, move forward in years. And what struck me there is, we don't often think about, wow, that must have been horrible when I was 10 or I was 12 or I was 14 or when I was 6. We only think about current, right? But wow, the formative years of a young child, right? Not to experience those kinds of feelings, and then that stays with them. And I think that's what Andrew was speaking to. That's when that happens. But most of us don't think about that, right? No, I'm not asking anyone to share a story, but would you be kind enough to just share with me if you've had that experience where you have felt like you didn't belong, or you were ostracized, or felt like you didn't fit in, and do you still remember that? Do you still carry that with you? Because I know I most definitely do. Andrea says, I shared an insight about this in talking about a student of mine who came to me because he had others hurting his feelings. I said to him, if they would have said you had a purple face with stripes, he said, I would have thought they were crazy, right? I said to him, because none of you believed what was said. That's excellent, Andrea. That's excellent. So Marie says, yes, she has. I most definitely have. Absolutely. So let's keep that in mind as we move forward, right? The memory of remembering a specific moment or incident when we were made to feel like, hey, you know what? You're not in this group. Being accepted is a powerful feeling. And when you're searching for it, it can take up all kinds of energy. What is belonging? It's based on acceptance. Acceptance of your role within a group or towards others in terms of your participation. Like where do you fit in? Where's your rank in that group, right? Are you the manager? Or are you the secretary? Or are you, the minute taker? Or are you the person that's like sitting on the sidelines waiting to be called up if someone called in sick, right? The need to want to belong is a basic human need, right? We all need to feel like we have a sense of belonging, because without it, it's isolation, it's alienation, it's loneliness. And if you alienate, isolate, or feel that loneliness, it can creep into daily life, and it can cause that critical voice in your head to turn negative. And that's when you're telling yourself, or that voice is telling you, sorry, that you are not enough. There's no good that comes from that. There's no good that comes from that. When you try so desperately to be a part of something that either doesn't recognize, you for what you have to offer, your values, your belief, your skills, your qualities, your personality, whatever, it can be such a lonely place. And then you start seeing things that aren't actually there. I mean, think about it, right? You get suspicious, you get paranoid, you think the world is out to get you, that you suck, everyone hates you. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And all of that negativity is like up there, right? So that every time you go to do something, it's telling you, you're not good enough, don't bother, they don't like you. It is such a slippery slope, my friends, such a slippery slope. Yes. Suzanne, we also put those thoughts in our own minds, even when there is, yes, absolutely, I agree with that. And I think that the reason that we put, you know, we've talked about this so many times, right? That voice that's in your head, we all refer to it sort of like jokingly, right? Like, listen to the little voice in your head. But if you think about it, how often does that little voice in your head how often is it encouraging? How often is it positive? I don't know about you guys, but mine isn't. Mine's always negative. Mine's always like, excuse me, what are you doing? You can't do that. It's always negative until I tell it that I don't accept that. And when I started saying I don't accept that, it stopped telling me negative things. Now, I don't know if that was my imagination or if that's all that I was hearing, was that it was the negativity coming out at me because I wasn't happy with what I saw, right? And I will also add this. There are times when in full disclosure, there are times when I come to the screen here on this channel and I think, okay, why isn't anyone here? What am I not doing that everybody else is doing? I've watched other videos of other new channel creators that are just sitting there talking. What am I not doing? So of course, all of those alarm bells go off, and it's like, you're horrible. Nobody wants to listen to you, right? Whatever. I've got to tell myself that the people that want to be here will be here, and when they're ready to come, they'll show up. I cannot compare myself to other people. I can't. It is a very slippery slope, right? Marie says, rejection is hard to deal with. Andrea says, when there's no part of me that believes what is said, I can walk away from what with an open, honest heart and gut. Fantastic, my friend. I love that. Suzanne says that is why we need to love ourselves so we can deal with these issues. I don't fit in everywhere, and I'm okay with that now. Right. Keyword now. But fantastic for you for putting in the work, for A, recognizing it, and B, putting in the work so that it does not affect you anymore. That is phenomenal. So proud of you. Suzanne says, I don't want negativity stealing my energy so I can be the best version of myself. Absolutely, my friend. Well said. Marie says, more positive than before. Right. Exactly. Andrea says, in shamanic terms, when a part of me has to step aside and go numb is when it's not safe to examine it. It leaves energy, soul energy holes. Interesting. But very accurate. Because that's exactly what it feels like, right? It's like a giant hole is left that you just want to like fall into, right? All right, let us move on. As people, we all have this like deep need to feel like we belong, to feel loved, to feel accepted. The need for love and belonging must be fulfilled, as Suzanne said, as Andrea said. It must be fulfilled before we can develop our self-esteem. Because it is our sense of contribution, our sense of value and respect from the outside community, the outside world, our parents, our environment, etc., right? So if they do not make us feel like we belong, we have immediately told ourselves we don't fit in. That negative voice in our head grabs a hold of that and shouts that out from the rooftops for the rest of your life because you believe it. Your self-esteem wasn't allowed to blossom, and you weren't showing that you are just as much a part of what is going on in the world as everyone else is, right? Very interesting. I love this topic. So Suzanne says, those thoughts don't grow a channel. Change your thoughts, focusing on the positive, and watch it flourish. And it takes time. Absolutely. And that was my point, right? Like, you guys know that I'm very honest and I'm very transparent. And I have no shame or blame in sharing I'm not saying it's all my anxiety. I'm not saying that. But my anxiety has a large role in reinforcing the negative. I don't belong, making me paranoid, making me suspicious, making me really mistrusting of other people that I normally would not be that way towards, because the stigma of having diagnosed anxiety panic disorder makes me feel like everyone's looking at me like, oh, look at her. And I know that that's not true. If you were to ask me, I know that's not true. And when Kelly is well, she knows it's not true. But when Kelly is not well and Kelly is immersed in anxiety, oh my God, it is like a beacon shining from my head that, like, you stick out like a sore thumb, lady. So it is diligence and hard work, as Suzanne and Andrew both said, of telling myself every day, I am enough. That is where that whole, you have a sparkle inside you that deserves to be seen by the world, and the world deserves to see your sparkle. That's where all that comes from. It's because I've been telling myself that for 9.5 years, and I'm just starting now to believe it. But thank you for saying that, Suzanne. I appreciate that. Andrew says, coming back and re-examining, excuse me, and inviting those parts of what soul retrieval is about. Hi, Vivian. How are you, love? Hi, Ange. How you doing, hon? Thank you for being here, you guys. Andrew says, we invite soul energy back. Suzanne says, I'm constantly working on my words and thoughts in the moment. It's a lot of work. Absolutely, my friend. Marie says, but hibernating last 2 years, I learned to look more at me, learning from readers and discussions. Good for you, Marie. Thank you for sharing that, because it's important. It's not easy to say, like, hey, I'm a work in progress. We're all works in progress. But somehow when you say it, it sounds like it's a bad thing or a negative thing, right? Or less than positive, shall we call it. But I don't believe that that's true. All right, let us continue, my friends. So where we left off, right, when you don't have the feeling that you belong, your personal growth can suffer and be stifled, ultimately. And I think that is, especially in like, if it happens to you when you're a young child, it just continues to sort of build up momentum in the negative, that you are not enough, that you don't fit in. And so, you don't even want to try, because you've just accepted, I don't fit in, right? So I want to read that quote one more time, right? Belonging starts with self-acceptance. Your level of belonging, in fact, can never be greater than your level of self-acceptance, because believing that you're enough is what gives you the courage to be authentic, vulnerable, and imperfect. Yes, Andrea, absolutely. There can definitely be remnants of past life in it too. And see, 6 months ago, I wouldn't have even known what the heck that meant. Even if I was in a chat and you said it, I wouldn't have even known what you meant. Now I know what you mean, but absolutely. Suzanne says, we never stop learning. 100%, Suzanne, 100%. Ange says, we are all works in progress. Yes, I like to call myself a lifetime student of the universe, always learning and growing. Right. And see, and I would love to jump on that train and say, yes, me too. And I'm not saying this to be negative. I'm saying it because it's the truth, and I feel that it's important to say. all of these things that you're all saying in the chat are 100% true, and they're all extremely positive and very helpful. But if you're a person like me who has anxiety that you deal with on the regular, and you're not having a good day, and you see all that, you may not take that in such a positive way. You'd be like, oh, well, it's easy for you to say because you don't know you don't walk in my shoes kind of idea, kind of attitude, right? Kind of thought process. And so for the people like me, as I said a few moments ago, when I am in that mode, where I suck and everything I do is wrong and I'm horrible and I should just throw myself in the middle of the traffic or whatever, that is when you do something like this. You grab your mirror, right? And you say, you are beautiful. You are kind and you are loving and you are enough. You are fantastic. You are phenomenal. You remind yourself of all those life lessons that hopefully you were taught when you were a young child that reminds you that it's okay to be who you are. Because as I've said a few moments ago, right? You have a sparkle within you that the world deserves to see, and you deserve for the world to see your sparkle. Right? Now I know that might sound trite. I'm only telling you because this thing right here, this thing called a beautiful mirror, is what saved me. This thing right here. So, moving on. Self-acceptance is the most powerful tool that we can have in our toolbox, my friends. That is how we nurture and protect ourselves from all the negative energy, especially the negative inner voice that we all have. I mean, we all have it, every single one of us, that causes us to fall into that habit of comparing ourselves to others or getting jealous or feeling judged, right? Self-acceptance, the most powerful tool that we can have in our toolbox to nurture and to protect ourselves from the negative energy that causes us to fall into the habit of comparing ourselves to others, getting jealous and feeling judged. You know what the most interesting thing that I found out was while I was doing the research for this? And I hate to admit that I'm 56 years old and I never realized this. That self-acceptance cannot occur, belonging cannot occur without self-acceptance. I honestly never connected those dots before I did this research. And so I wonder if perhaps maybe someone else didn't connect the dots. So for that one person that may watch this or may be watching this right now, just think about that for a moment. What I just said, self-acceptance, the most powerful tool that we have in our toolbox to nurture and protect ourselves from the negative energy that causes us to fall into the habit of comparing ourselves to others, getting jealous, feeling judged. You cannot have belonging without self-acceptance. Andrea says, how about souls evolving as a more positive way of saying it? 100%, Andrea. I love that. Anna Banana says, we have been brainwashed into believing that we should know what we want and have accomplished all of our dreams prior to 40 in order to retire by 65. If you get lost in the way, you are thought a failure. Absolutely. I agree with that. Kelly, you're in the advanced placement cast. Thank you. Andrea, I love you. I do. You're so wonderful. Andrea says negative self-talks sometimes still serves me. My job then becomes, how is this serving me? Right? Yeah. I don't know what Kelmar is doing, and I don't know what he's typing. I think I've missed something. But anyways, Suzanne says we need to love one another for where each of us are. Absolutely. And, we all know this, right? I mean, you watch any daytime program, you watch politics, and especially where women are concerned, people go out of their way to pit women against women. They go out of their way to do it. And so I think, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I think that females, have an even tougher job convincing themselves that they have, this self-acceptance and get rid of that negative energy and the negative inner voice in their head telling them that they don't belong, because it's out there. It's out there in the universe. I'm not saying that men don't deal with it, but I think that women deal with it more so than men, right? Suzanne says, there are no failures, just lessons. Our successes and lessons belong to us and not to others. Absolutely. All right. So the path to self-acceptance, which is what we've all been saying here in the chat, and belonging. So the path to self-acceptance and belonging starts with what, my friends? Mindfulness. Mindfulness, which is what I said about the mirror, right? This is a quote from Maya Angelou. You only are free when you realize you belong no place. You belong every place, which is no place at all. Interesting quote. Yes, and attack female body image. Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, and not to make this ridiculous, but to hammer home my point, right? If there's gossip in an office, it's got to be the women, everyone thinks. If it is a TV show, it's the women that are causing the problem on that, right? They're fighting over wardrobes, and they're fighting over their hair, or they're fighting over like who's got, the better clothes to wear, right? If a man has an affair, it's the other woman's fault. She must have done something, right? We have examples of that all the time, where the female is put out there on a pedestal for us to sort of throw stones at, right? Yes, exactly. Look at the cosmetic industry. Nothing else needs to be said. Fabulous, Suzanne. That's a very good point. The first step towards self-acceptance is becoming more mindful to our negative thoughts, and to simply notice them without non-judgmental curiosity. And I thought that this was really interesting. I've never done this before, but this was a suggestion. So when you find yourself engaging with a negative thought, right, in terms of self-acceptance and belonging, notice what the thought is about. So let's give an example, right? Oh God, I don't want to meet up with the people here in the chat, because they're gonna tell me that I'm a phony baloney. Are you feeling judgment about that thought? When you examine that negative thought, do you feel judgment? Do you feel comparison? Did any of your actions change on how you respond to other people when that thought's running through your mind? Did your shoulders get tense? Did they go up near your ears? Did you become defensive? Now remember, this is all about being more mindful about this process, right? So when you have this negative thought that goes through your mind that I don't fit in, right? It must be my fault. Something I did, I said, it's because of XYZ, 1, 2, 3, whatever the case may be. If you journaled it, almost like a I don't want to say a list of pros and cons, but kind of like a bullet point situation like that. So this is the thought. This is what I was doing. This is, where I was at. How did I take it out on anyone else? By acknowledging those thoughts and the reactions that you had to them, you're actually empowering yourself to take back the control of how you respond rather than automatically withdrawing from it. Because now it's written on a piece of paper. It's not about emotions and feelings. It's written on a piece of paper. You can see it almost like a screenplay, right? I thought that this was a very interesting way of laying it out because I've never seen it done this way before. I've seen it where, people are like journal, do mirror work, that kind of thing. I've never seen it presented in this manner before. So I thought it was an interesting approach. So, hi, Faye. How you doing, love? Hi, Jay. Thank you for being here, you guys. So Marie says, I wear jeans, t-shirts, or pearl snap shirts. It's what I like and comfy with. Absolutely. I mean, you got to do whatever you want to do, right? Suzanne says, change thought process immediately and carry on, right? Now, see, when I've had those negative thoughts before, like I've said, I get in front of the mirror because my theory is, as I've said many times, that you can't lie to yourself, right? So I look myself square in the eyes and I'm just stand there until I convince the image that I'm seeing in front of me that you are good enough. I need the intensity of the mirror and the reflection that I'm seeing back, just being personal, right? This is just a different option that I wanted to present, that maybe you don't need it to be so intense. Maybe this isn't something that like weighs over you, that you deal with like every single day, like hour by hour, minute by minute. Maybe this is just something that happens every once in a blue moon for you. Maybe this might work better for someone. But for me personally, the mirror is the ticket to solving this problem right here, because I need the intensity. Because that's what's, I mean, it's gotta combat the intensity or the level that's going on in your head, if that makes sense. I don't know that I did a great way of articulating that, but I hope you know what I mean. Suzanne says, I went on a Zoom last night with people I had no connection before. At first I wasn't going to go, but I jumped in with both feet and had fun. I mean, and that's fantastic. And thank you for sharing that, Suzanne. Sometimes you just got to believe that it's all going to work out. And we've all had those situations presented to us where, we were invited to go somewhere like, oh, I don't know anybody, and is it going to be okay or whatever, right? And sometimes you're in a position when you can do that and it works out fantastic. And then other times you're in a position where you can do it and you go and it doesn't work out so great. And that's when the negative voice in your head starts, well, I told you shouldn't have gone. See, why didn't you just stay at home? Right? I'm glad that didn't happen to you, though. And I'm glad that you put yourself out there, because I mean, that's the whole point of this conversation, right? You cannot have self-acceptance without belonging, right? And if you felt that you didn't belong way back when you were a small child, and those negative thoughts sort of started to take over, where every time you tried to put yourself out there, you heard this recorded message that you don't fit in, you suck, you're horrible, get out, you don't belong here. Guess what? You have your self-acceptance is shot. You have none. And that's all you tell yourself. And so the point is, my friends, every single one of us has the ability to feel like we belong, because every single one of us has a choice to make to be accepting of our own selves. Now, if I had have been sitting in the chat 8 months ago and I had heard me say, you have a choice about whether this happens or it doesn't, whether you can be self-accepting or not, I would have said, that lady doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know what I deal with. I am telling you that it is the truth and that it works, but it is a decision that you must make, and you must be conscious, consistent, and consecutive every single day, telling yourself, I'm good enough, I belong, I am loved, I love myself, I accept me for who I am, flaws and all, like whatever, right? Whether you journal, whether you manifest, whether you meditate, whether you visualize, whether you just yell it from the rooftops, whether you talk to yourself in the mirror. That, my friends, is how you get your self-acceptance back. That's how you do it. By telling the negative voice in your head, that is not true. I am enough. I do belong. Every time that bell goes off and says, hey, what are you doing? You can't go on YouTube. Look at your teeth. Your teeth are bad. Well, you can't. No, nobody's going to watch you because your teeth are bad. I had to look myself in the mirror and say, you know what? If people aren't going to watch me because my teeth are bad, I don't want them to watch me. But somebody will watch me, because someone will think that I'm courageous, and someone will think that I'm brave because I dared to show my face with my teeth being bad. Someone is going to appreciate the fact that I would put myself out there and share that, because I can't be the only one. That's how we get our self-acceptance back. Absolutely, Marie. Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. And yes, that's a very good point, Suzanne. And see, and I think like, because when the negativity comes in, it's so like heavy, right? I mean, it's really that simple. Go. If you don't like it, leave. But we make this like whole thing about it. Right? We make it's like a whole situation. I don't know if you remember me saying before about the future predicting, something that a lot of people that suffer from anxiety do, because they are so concerned that they're going to go somewhere and have a panic attack that they try to plan out the whole event from start to finish, right? To make sure that they're safe and that they feel secure and safe and comfortable, right? It is a defense mechanism. It's not like necessarily, it doesn't start out as a negative thing, but it ends up being a potentially negative thing because you've planned out the whole scenario and you don't even know what's going to happen. I mean, you're not even there yet. And you've already had a panic attack and had to go home, right? So you forget that it is really just that simple. Like Suzanne said, if you go somewhere and you don't feel comfortable, you can leave. But see, the negative voice goes and you're like, oh, but then people will say something and that one won't be happy. And, we got to make a quick exit out the back door. You know what I mean? Like we start like getting all caught up in our thoughts, and it's just not a good thing. It's just not a good thing. That's exactly it, Faye. That's exactly it. If you don't love yourself, if you don't accept yourself, why would you expect anyone else to? If I sat here and said to myself, well, no one's going to come and watch this channel because I don't know how to read tarot cards. No one's going to come watch this channel because I talk about heavy topics. No one's going to come watch this channel because my teeth are bad. A, I'd probably never start the damn channel in the first place. And B, I would constantly be looking at my subscription numbers and going, nobody's watching me. See, I was right. Nobody wants to watch me. No one wants to listen to me. Right? If I sat here, like right now on the screen, I can see how many people are watching. If that is the only number that I concentrated on, if that was the thing that I was focused on while I was talking, I would be so insecure about that number that I wouldn't say anything of any value. And so I have to believe that whoever needs to hear whatever I'm saying is going to show up when they need to show up. Exactly, Faye. Well done, my friend. We project out how we feel about ourselves to others unknowingly. Absolutely. 100%. And I think the reason why I am so charged up about this particular topic is because, as I said earlier, full disclosure, if you had told me 6 to 8 months ago that it was this simple, I would have told you that you're full of it. Just being honest. Because I was so in that negative tailspin that I didn't know a positive thought if it hit me upside the head, to be perfectly honest. Number two, it's something I've dealt with all my life, so I just thought that that's the way that it was. I didn't realize that I could stand in front of a mirror and reprogram my mind to believe that I was good enough. Because if it was that simple, if it was simple as, hey, you can leave if you don't like it, if it was really that simple, surely to God, I would have picked up on that. No, but that's the point. As we talked about a few moments ago, right? Women pit themselves against women, the body image thing, the whole, like, if you're pretty or not intelligent, like all of that nonsense, right? This stuff started when you were a kid, like in the playground, because you wouldn't share your half of your peanut butter and banana sandwich with, one of your playmates. This stuff started a long time ago. And if you think about it, it's probably creeped its ugly head up many a time over your life, which is why I said in the beginning, like, how many of us remember a moment? There's probably tons of moments, right? But the minute that you either acknowledge that I have this problem, or you read something, or you see something that says, hey, you can change this, you don't know that you can. Because I didn't. Thank you, Faye. That's very kind of you to say. And that's exactly how I felt. I mean, I struggled with it for a little bit. And then I had to tell myself, like, you're just being crazy. You're just being totally insecure and crazy. So I appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much. Sometimes people project their stuff onto us and we can choose to accept it or not. And when I experience this, I think to myself, I wonder what is going on in their life, not mine. 100%. When you get to a certain position, a certain point, a certain level, when you're awakened, enlightened, evolved, content, happy, secure, choose a word or a few, right? You have that. Many people speak to this point that when you hit 40 or when you hit 50, that all of a sudden you don't really care what other people think the way that you once did. I care more about what people think now than I did when I was younger. But that's because of my anxiety has made me so insecure that I've isolated myself in my home because I'm afraid, oh my God, what if I went outside the house and had a panic attack? What would happen? People would look at me. Marie says, I was born premature, so I was behind others for a long time. Took me a while to catch up with others. And so you probably are very familiar, as you said in the beginning, that you dealt with it your whole life, right? That you felt like you didn't belong or you didn't fit in. Faye says, if you don't lose weight, you will never find a good husband. That's BS. Exactly, right? I mean, and we were speaking to that a few moments ago. I'm not sure if you heard it, but look, it's in the media all the time, right? If there's three female stars on a show, like they have to hate each other. There's no way that they could possibly get along, right? If there's 3 women in an office, they can't possibly get along because they're all like trying to outdo each other. It's like ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Suzanne says, I used to get triggered when a driver failed to signal lane change, but now I say it is good that they made it safely, right? I mean, and that's exactly it. Now you're at a point in your life where you have realized that, I don't want to be ridiculous about this, but it's almost like the amount of energy that it takes to feed that negative voice in your head is like once you realize the difference in energy levels, what a drastic difference that can make in your life in terms of not feeding that machine to constantly tell you that you're not good enough, that you're not doing something right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I just want to finish this here. Bear with me one more second. So, to go along with our last point that we made, right? We all know who Louise Hay is, right? Louise Hay is the lady who came up with the whole mirror work thing, or sorry, mirror technique. Pardon me. This is her words. You have been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. What would it look like to reject the thought that your body is imperfect? What would it look like to reject the thought that you are not good enough and instead have more kindness for yourself? So if you stood in front of a mirror and you said on Monday, yikes, girl, you gonna let yourself go. I gotta look at me like this in the mirror, right? Now you stand in front of the mirror on Tuesday and you say to yourself, you know what? You have a beautiful smile. And that little voice goes off in your head and says, yeah, but look at how fat your tummy is. And you say, but it's my tummy. That's rejecting that negative thought. And that's where this starts. That's the whole point of self-acceptance, that it equals belonging, right? Is by using this mindfulness technique of turning off the negative, by refusing it, by simply refusing it and saying no. That is untrue. So you're standing in the mirror and you're looking at yourself and all you see is all your flaws. And your inner negative voice tells you you're a hot mess. The minute that thing goes off and says you're a hot mess, you say out loud, no, that is untrue. I don't accept that. So the minute that you start sort of like pushing that idea back or pushing it away, whichever way you want to say it, what you're doing is you're rejecting that negative thought. You're shutting it down. I didn't hear you. You don't exist. I'm not listening. That's the first step towards self-acceptance. That's the first step towards self-acceptance. Is shutting that negative thought down, pushing it away. Then think about what it would look like to accept your life, your body, your choices, whatever they may be, as they are in the moment. What would it look like if you accepted all the unique experiences that made you who you are right now? Does that make sense? So you look in the mirror and you're like, ugh, yikes. And that inner voice is like, yeah, well, you know what? If you're so worried about it, why'd you eat that chocolate bar last night? And you're like, you go away. I can eat a damn chocolate bar if I want, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? You're rejecting the negative thought. Now imagine standing in front of the mirror and looking at yourself and saying, God, I am awesome. Look at me. I don't have any gray hair. Look at me. You know, I ate 3 platefuls of pasta tonight. I can't believe I did that. If you did that, but you were accepting of it, if it was like embraced in a positive hug, imagine the difference that would have on your life. Just imagine. Imagine the difference that it would make if you stood in front of the mirror in your typical way that you would do and say, geez, the only way that I'm going to be able to stand here and look at myself in the mirror is if all the lights are off, right? Or put my back to it. If you turned around and turned the lights on and just went like, God damn, like I'm owning this, you know? Like these wrinkles, I've earned every single one of them. All these gray hairs, I've earned every single one of them, like, or whatever the case may be. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you accepted it for what it was, imagine the difference that it would make overall. Because what you're doing in those moments when you are rejecting the negativity and inserting the positivity, what you're doing is nurturing yourself. Right? You're nurturing yourself. You're loving yourself just the way that it was when you were a small child. You know, when you fell down and you had a boo-boo and some adult, babysitter, your big sister, big brother, grandma, grandpa, whatever, would kiss it, make it better. What is that, my friends? That's nurturing. Every time that you guys come in this room, you nurture each other in this chat by telling each other that you're beautiful and you're wonderful, and you wish each other, you know, love and blessings and light, and do it for yourselves. Do it for yourself. So get in front of that mirror and tell yourself, you are awesome. That's how you start to nurture yourself. And when you nurture yourselves, you help to improve the relationship with yourself. And then what happens? When you improve the relationship with yourself, what happens, my friends? Then you start to improve your relationship with others. Why? Because we are now more accepting of ourselves. So now it doesn't matter who out there accepts us, because we believe that we are good enough. To bring it full circle back to Suzanne's point of, now it's going to be okay that when you go somewhere, that if you don't like it, you can leave. Instead of getting all in your head about it, oh my God, and everyone's going to notice, that people are going to phone me, and people are going to say things, and you know what I mean? It's going to be like a whole situation or whatever, right? The path to self-acceptance and belonging, my friends, starts with mindfulness. So if you take nothing away from all of what we've talked about tonight, most important thing, tell that inner voice, that negativity, I do not accept what you're saying. No, go away. And counter that back with accepting, with positivity, right? Whatever the situation may be. Love yourself. When you love yourself, you nurture yourself. When you nurture yourself, your self-acceptance grows. And then you carry that forward by being able to accept and being more loving and accepting and outward and like outside relationships, right? Bear with me. Do. I love that, Suzanne. Well said, my friend. Feed your mind and heart with positivity. Absolutely. Just a few more notes here. So active listening is really an important trait to use. People love to feel listened to and valued. So asking about people's lives and stories is a great way to learn about others. in terms of if you have been in a situation where, there's like 5 friends, 4 friends know each other, 1 friend is new, they don't really know anybody. In order to make them feel like they are accepted and they belong, that is how you can engage someone so that they feel like they belong, by extending an olive branch, by just being human, by being kind, by being considerate, and listening. How was your day? And you're like, oh God, this, and they're like, okay, gotta go, bye. They weren't even listening to you. What a horrible way to make someone feel. What are you telling someone when you do that to them? You're telling them that, like, you don't matter to me because I don't have time to listen to you. What does that lead to? I don't belong. I don't fit in. So if you are ever in a position where you are at the party that Suzanne spoke about, right? You're at the party and you can see someone, like, maybe I'm going to insert Suzanne's name as an example. Suzanne's new to the crowd. She's never been here before. Let's make her feel welcome by listening to her, engaging her in conversation, right? Being open-minded also matters. It can, the sense and the feeling of belonging in a situation or environment can be increased by being open to different things, right? So if you came into this chat and you said, what do you do here? Well, I talk about things that matter, topics about, promoting wellness, and we toss oracle cards around, and I don't like oracle cards. I don't believe in them, and I don't have anxiety, so this doesn't apply to me. Okay, great. What do we talk about now? So, now this all sounds like it's pretty straightforward stuff, but I'm sure that especially in the time that we live in, right? There's going to be a moment in time where we're going to be in a conversation with someone. We're going to be like, I don't even know what the hell to do anymore because it's been so long in this kind of social situation. I don't even know what it's like to talk to some dude at the grocery store anymore. Like, I don't know what it's like to conversate, because now I look at everyone and I'm like, well, don't talk to me, right? If you talk to me, I might get the virus or whatever. So just, be kind to other people, which I know all of you are, right? Use your active listening skills, being open-minded, right? To be able to validate other people so that they know that they matter, right? And also, hey, you may learn something new that you didn't know, right? I think it was a really interesting topic in terms of researching it, because, as I said, I had no idea of the connection between acceptance and belonging. In my mind, there were two separate things. And from the research that I did, it is one thing that, like, joins the other thing, that make them basically, you can't have one without the other idea. And I thought that was probably the biggest thing that I took away from it. Sorry, I'm just getting comfy. What did y'all think about that? That concludes my notes. What did you think? I mean, thank you for participating. You guys had lots of things to say, and I appreciate that. Oh, Faye, I missed your comment, Faye, but I threw away the scale because it was upsetting you. Yeah, absolutely. Marie says, when I was like 8, Grandpa said you learn something new every day. 100%. 100%. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you. I'm just glad that it resonated, right? And thank you for participating as much as you always do. I mean, you make it easy to have a conversation because you're constantly participating, and I really appreciate that. The idea, like I said, of the topic of acceptance and belonging is something that I have struggled with for a long time. And I'm happy to report that I feel like I'm coming out of that, and this channel and this community, specifically the people that come here to my chat all the time and participate in these conversations, you are the reason that I feel that I am accepted and that I do belong and that I am good enough as I am. You are a huge part of that. And so it was important to me to discuss it, because I feel like I'm on the other side of that, right? If that makes sense. So with that, I'm going to throw a couple cards for you guys before we finish up. I just want to remind you that if you're in the neighborhood, pop by on Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. For Thank Spirit, it's Friday. We're going to do our collective general read for the weekend. Then on Sunday at 3 p.m., I'll be on Sunset Psychic Jean's channel answering questions about the reading that she did with me, which was phenomenal. If you haven't already checked it out, please try to do it. It was fantastic. And then I'll be back here at 8 p.m. for Oracles and Chat. And then on Tuesday, I go on Nancy Jean's Garden, where we're going to do some stuff over there. And I think that's enough of the reminders, right? Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. You're very kind. I appreciate you so much, my friend. And I'm so glad to see you here. I'm so glad. Aw, thanks, Marie. Aw, thank you, Faye. That's very kind of you to say. These talks actually help with social skills, even though we're not physically around each other. They do. They definitely do. They help me. All right, my friends, using my own Oracle deck here, I'll pull a couple cards. Let's see what we get. What is the message? Oh, I did a little pick a pile today because I felt bad that I didn't do one on the weekend. So I posted up on the channel. I did it this afternoon. So I had my 3 ceramic. I have ceramics that I've made with my nieces over the years. So one is Believe, and it's giant. It's like this big. And then one is Family, and then one is Love. And I use those for my different piles. So I hope that you guys can check that out. I hope that you like those. All right. Let us get a card for the collective. A couple of cards. What do we need to know tonight? What do we need to know? All right. So the first card that we have out is communication. And I'll read that in a sec. Let's see what else we can get. All right. The second one that we have is balance. Those two don't count because I basically threw them. In full disclosure. I am happy that you stumbled across the channel as well, Faye. Whoop. All right, so the third card that we have out is an angel number, 999. All right, let's go for 2 more, please. Can we have 2 more cards, please? All right, and we've got 777. And 1 more card, please. 1 more card. All right, so we will start off with, we have 777, the angel number 777, which means luck, which means manifesting goals, which means looking forward with excitement. Well, I can't think of a better thing to do if you feel like you belong and you are accepted, that you would look forward to activities with excitement, would you not, my friends? We also have 999. 999 speaks to releasing, things coming to an end, and also thinking of the next step. So you're standing in front of the mirror and you are telling that negative voice, you know what? I refuse to listen to you anymore. That is thinking of the next step, because what you're doing, my friend, is looking forward with excitement to when you have arrived at the doorstep of self-acceptance. Wonderful. We have balance, being in the flow, things coming together. If you are looking forward with excitement and you are thinking of the next step, that would imply that you have things coming together for you, would it not? We have communication, being heard, information coming in, listening, speaking your truth, all things that stem from, well, possibly not the information coming in one, but everything else speaks to self-acceptance, right? And belonging, being heard. We just spoke about that. Listening, we just spoke about that. Speaking your truth. When you're standing in front of that mirror and you're telling that negative voice, you know what, go away. I'm not listening to you anymore. That's speaking your truth, my friends. That is telling the truth. Or realizing the truth, perhaps. We have root chakra, located at the base of your spine. Family, belonging, safety, and security. Belonging. Belonging, my friends. Can't make that stuff up. All right, let me just because I feel like I'm going to, or just like I feel like I'm going to, just like I feel like I should. All right, so I'm going to pull a postcard from Spirit. You know, I think it's really interesting, Susan, that you even recognize that about yourself. A lot of people wouldn't, and so I think that's wonderful that you acknowledge that. You know, that you need to listen more. Faye, that's lovely. Well, you know what? It is not without its realm of possibility that we might be able to pull something like that off at one point in time. Just saying. We wouldn't be physically in the same room, but we could be like in a private room. Suzanne, I suffer from the same thing, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, I would say never stifle your excitement, right? If you're excited and your mojo's vibing and you're going, go with it. I don't know about you, but I love it when I'm on fire like that. I feel like I could take on the world. I have a funny story about that, real quick. So, just after I was first diagnosed, and this is maybe about, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months, and I was having like 6 to 8 panic attacks a day. I was a hot mess. And I'd started seeing a therapist, and things were starting to come together, or so I thought. I thought I was making great progress. In hindsight, I wasn't making any progress, but I felt better, and that's the important part. So anyways, Mark's at work and he calls me and how's it going? And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm having a great day. And I did this and I did that and I did this and I did that. And I was like rhyming all these things off. And I said, I feel like I could take on the world. And I was telling him everything that I had done that day, right? I don't know. I had like put the dishwasher on and I had like changed the bed or whatever. I don't know. I had done all these things. And, I went into the kitchen and the dishwasher was leaked all over the floor because I didn't I didn't plug it in, but I turned the water on. It was like a portable dishwasher. So then I phoned him back and I said, apparently I'm not quite ready to take on the world yet because I can't even figure out how to turn the dishwasher on. It was hysterical. So every time I say I'm going to take on the world, I think of that moment. But you know, that moment when like I say all your planets align, all the stars are aligned, and you just feel like you're on fire. You could just, you could just go. There's no better feeling than that. Suzanne says, I was on fire with my mentor today. Anna says, I love seeing people when they're excited. It boosts the overall energy of every situation. 100%, my friend. 100%. How many of us here to reply and not to really listen? Yeah. All right. Let us get a card out. What do we need to know? What do we need to know? Our postcard from Spirit. What is our message, please? All right. Well, we had 2 turnover. So the first one reads, Dearest you, even though life seems now to be moving full steam ahead, it's a time to rest. Allow ideas to flow through you and take root in your heart before they reach your mind. Honor this process by becoming empty to allow for inspiration and the magic of dreaming. You might feel lazy or unproductive, but we know better. Just as sleep is a way to recharge before renewal, so are you in a time for dreaming. In this powerful process of co-creation, your soul merges with spirit in a profound way so you can receive your music directly from source and play your part in the symphony of life. You are being invited to bear witness to the great creation and tune in to what others can't hear. We have so many dreams to share with you in the sacred and the invisible. Don't worry, we will wake you when it's time to return with a new dream. No need to set an alarm clock. Love you always. Which I just think was really interesting because we were just talking about hearing and listening and all that kind of stuff, right? I just thought that was really interesting. All right. Second one that we got out. Dearest you, we have a secret for you. The more you think you know, the less you actually do. So if you are willing to keep an open mind, you will avoid the narrow confines of the know-it-all and open up to the unlimited potential that can be discovered only by the curious optimist. Curiosity allows you to discover new things, see the world from a different perspective, and find answers to questions you might not even know you have. Right now, whatever is going on, it's important to know that you are not aware of all the aspects of it. You need to see to make an informed choice. You might be projecting a story that isn't totally true. So moving forward, your mantra should be, I don't know, or that's interesting, as you keep your mind and heart open to new experiences and a richer existence overall. All of us over here want you to be all that you can be. Oh my God, you guys. All of us over here want you to be all that you can be. Is that not exactly what we've been talking about? Self-acceptance, belonging, linked together. We want you to be all that you can be. I want you to be all that you can be. Awesome. Love it. Suzanne says, I used to think that everyone thought about things the same way and that everyone had common sense. I didn't know any better. Yeah, it is. It's interesting. I don't know how to necessarily articulate this so it doesn't come out like a asinine kind of comment, but my grandmother used to always say that, about not seeing the forest for the trees. Sometimes I was so busy getting in my own way over the last 9 3/4 years that I didn't know that I wasn't using my common sense. I thought I was. I really did. I thought I was. I now know that I wasn't, but that's the benefit of hindsight, right? And the benefit of clarity. Sometimes we're not aware that we're not until someone points it out to us. But in order for that person to be kind enough to point it out to us, we have to be willing to listen to it. And that was another issue that I had. And anyone in this chat who has ever, dealt with someone or tried to be supportive of someone who is going through a mental health situation, I'm not ready to listen when I'm not ready to listen. Like when I'm in that place, when I'm anxious, you could tell me the same thing 20 times and I'd be like, I did not hear a word you said. I think I've said that to you guys before, right? My sister would chat with me and she'd say, why don't you try this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you try that? Whatever. She'd say the same thing to me every day for 20 days. Not literally, but you get what I'm saying. And then all of a sudden, 3 months goes by and I pick up the phone and I'd be like, oh my God, do you know what I found out today? She'd be like, I've been telling you that for 2 minutes. I literally was not listening. I wasn't listening to her because I didn't want to hear what she had to say. I was too busy in my own mind to listen to anything that was coming in. So that was me thinking that I was using all my common sense, but I wasn't. And to the point that about the card, and to the point that we already spoke about, you really have to be willing to listen, right? Suzanne said it before, right? I need to listen more. You need to listen to yourself, especially. My friends, I thank you so much for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's conversation. I know I did. I love it when I come here and I learn something new, which is fantastic. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for always being here and always having my back and always being so supportive of each other as well as me. Seriously, can't thank you guys enough. I hope that you have a great couple of days until we see each other again on Friday. It's Friday. And stay healthy, stay safe. And for anybody who's dealing with the cold like I am tonight, I hope that you're warm as well. Yes, Suzanne, you're absolutely correct. I wasn't ready to receive. I wasn't. I am now, and that's the important bit. But I feel bad for those people in that particular situation because I know what that feels like, right? That you desperately feel like you want to receive, but you literally don't know how because that voice in your head is telling you, nope. It's a tricky spot, slippery slope, my friends, but together we will figure it out. We will help, we will inform, we will spread the word, and we will spread love, we will spread light, and we will spread acceptance, right? That's what we will do. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And as Suzanne says, love, light, and hugs, everyone. Stand in your light and let it shine. Stand your ground and don't back down. Sorry, Andrea. I'm glad that you came back, though. Thank you so much, my friend. Faye, blessings, absolutely. Blessings, everyone, and stand in your truth. You guys are awesome, phenomenal human beings. I love each and every one of you, and I would not be able to do this without you. Anna Banana, thank you. Have a blessed evening. I love you guys right back. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for making such a huge difference in my life. Thank you. You guys have a wonderful evening. I will see you on Friday. Blessings. Bye for now.